Good morning, meteorologist John Hominuk with Empire Weather here with your agriculture morning briefing. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Tuesday. We're going to start doing these this year as we get into the peak of the season. We did them last year every morning during the core of the North American agriculture season, but figure we get off to a little bit of an early start this morning here, Tuesday, March 28th. Quiet morning right now across the belt. A couple areas of clouds moving across the upper Midwest, and otherwise fairly clear across a large majority of the northern central plains. A little bit more unsettled in the Ohio Valley as the system sort of slides off to the east. Temperatures are chilly across the northern plains this morning. They'll warm up quite a bit as we move through the day, but cooler up here in the Dakotas and Minnesota. Into the 50s in parts of the central plains and the upper 40s to lower 50s here, sliding over to the east across much of the Ohio Valley later this afternoon. Looking at the precipitation forecast, we mentioned that weak wave moving through parts of the Ohio Valley this morning. A couple of rain and snow mixed showers will slide off to the east and gradually expected to weaken as we go through the day today. Not really much impact from that, and we'll also have a couple of isolated snow showers across parts of Minnesota and northern Wisconsin. Those might redevelop into a band of light snow moving into parts of Iowa into Wisconsin, and then into Michigan on Wednesday. And you can see it organizes into this band as this weak low-pressure system moves through Wednesday. That will slide down to the east into New England, but associated with this band will also be a wind shift. And so you see the frontal boundary come through here. Wednesday is likely to be a much colder day across the northern plains. That front comes through and drops temperatures down. Also colder across the upper Midwest and Ohio Valley. So warmer weather will be back in the southern plains Wednesday, but our friends here in the north are going to pay for it with this cold weather coming back. And that frontal boundary sinks further down on Thursday as well across the northern plains. But temperatures rebound Thursday across the Ohio Valley, and sliding back to the plains again, you can see that warmth begins to come back on Thursday as well as the system begins to evolve off to the north and east. That takes us to our medium range forecast, and there's quite a bit going on in the medium range forecast. I'm going to back up and look at where we are nationally. So we know that front comes through Wednesday and Thursday, and then let's look at the vorticity. So this is cyclonic vorticity in the atmosphere, and it helps us understand where these storms are. And you'll see that we have something loading up here Thursday back on the Intermountain West. This is going to come out of the Rockies into parts of the plains and then the Midwest Thursday into Friday. There's a possibility of some isolated storms in the plains on Thursday. These are not expected to be overly impactful. The bigger system will come Friday afternoon as this storm rides this gradient. We always talk about these height gradients, right? You see how the southeast ridge really builds Thursday into Friday, and this storm's going to ride right along the gradient between the trough and the blues here and the yellows and oranges. And so that is going to place a strong low pressure system somewhere in the upper Midwest. And you see the models developing this system in a strong storm Friday evening into Saturday. And the latest guidance that we have on this system is that there'll be a multi-hazard threat with this one. So we'll see some snow possible late Thursday into Friday across the upper Midwest from northern Minnesota, Wisconsin into Michigan. But then we'll have the possibility of strong and severe thunderstorms essentially from the Mississippi Delta northward into parts of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and Iowa as this storm system evolves. If we look at the instability forecast, you can see very clearly where the severe weather threat is going to be with this one as it evolves off to the east and then weakens as it heads into the Ohio Valley Friday. There's also a winter weather side to this storm, and you can see that evolving here in the northern plains. It's possible that we see some additional snowfall here across parts of southeastern Minnesota and Wisconsin, and then that system wraps up. So that snow might wrap into Wisconsin and parts of Michigan as well as this system pulls off to the north and east. Looking at the latest European forecast for this system, here's your snowfall. So a couple inches of snow from South Dakota into Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan as that system wraps up. And then from late Saturday into Sunday, the forecast looks pretty nice. This looks like a very nice weekend after that system pulls away Saturday afternoon off into New England. Looking at the forecast in the medium range, just taking a peek at it, we mentioned in our last video and our latest discussions that this is going to be an active pattern, folks, and nothing really has changed in regards to that expectation. Here's that first storm, comes out Friday, but look what's waiting in the wings early next week. we got yet another system that the models are amplifying here in the southwest. During the early part of next week, one wave comes out. In the middle part of next week, another one comes out. And if we look at the precipitation forecast, it is active. Here's our first system Friday. Then we get another one early next week, Tuesday to Wednesday. And then look at this next system, Wednesday to Thursday. It just continues. And so if we look at this from an anomaly perspective, especially across the Ohio Valley, the Mississippi Delta, and even into parts of the eastern plains and northern plains, this is a very active pattern heading into the middle part of April. So we will have to keep an eye on this active flow, continued risks for precipitation, especially with a pattern and flow that looks like this overall. From a temperature perspective too, the models are starting to show that warmth beginning to build, southern plains and southeast, and that places much of the upper Midwest right on that gradient, which makes sense, right? If you go back and look at this hike pattern, here's how it looks as we evolve into next week. This is a gradient pattern that produces active precipitation across a lot of the plains. We'll have to watch this area in particular. It seems like the storms continue to sort of skirt this area. For Kansas and Oklahoma, we can take any drop of precipitation we can get. So we'll watch that very closely, but the core of it in this general vicinity looks quite active as we move into that first and second week of April. So again, those are your highlights. We have this weak front coming through late this week. We'll watch that really closely. Then we have a big storm system on Friday. We mentioned the Storm Prediction Center signaling the possibility of severe weather with that event. I'll pull that outlook up just so you guys can get an idea on what that looks like. We have this signal here. This is their day 4 outlook for Friday. So this whole area here at risk for severe weather. And then this area here, this orange area at a heightened risk of severe weather. So keep an eye to the sky Friday and have a way to get weather warnings, obviously, with this system. And then after that, after Friday, we'll clear that out for the weekend, and then we'll watch another potential sequence of systems early next week. A lot more coming your way today, more detailed regional videos, and a long-range video taking a look at what to expect all of April into May as well. Thanks for watching this morning, guys. I am off to get some coffee. Hope you guys have a great morning. Talk to you soon.